Hey everyone, Brad the mechanic here. Today we're working on a 2014 Subaru Forrester. I'm going to be doing a couple different things on it. I don't know if I'm going to make multiple videos or just one video, but I'm going to do a tune-up. I'm going to do plugs, spark plugs on it, and I am going to be doing rear wheel bearings and brakes all the way around. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, so you can see 10 mil right there. It'd be easier if you had a 1/4 inch ratchet. So that came loose. You're going to spin this out. Set that in a safe spot. And then this will just pop out. You can kind of wiggle it a little and it pops out. So then you pull it upwards and it's out of the way. So you do the same thing to this one once you find your ratchet that hit the ground, and you can pull it out, and the next step would be to grab the spark plugs. So with the extension, I busted it loose with the ratchet, and then I'm spinning this with my hand on the swivel, and it's loosening this spark plug, and then I'll be able to pull it out by hand once I get this all the way loosened. Sometimes it takes a few minutes, and then spark plug just fell out. So we're in business. Alright, so for this last one, I took the airbox loose. Gave me way more room to get in there and to pull this out. As you can see, I'm doing it by hand. I loosened them up with the ratchet, and then the rest is coming out by hand. So once this comes out, I'll pull it out and I'll be able to replace the spark plugs, which should be simple, and then put the boots back on, which should be simple. They're already plugged in, so no worries there. Alright, feels like this thing's coming loose, so I'll give it a few more spins, see if she wants to pop out. Okay, so it didn't come out with that. Oh, it's loose. Boom. There's the old one. Tip's all messed up. So then next step would be to take the plugs, put them in this first, then slide it in like this, and then slide it in to tighten it this way. Always by hand, never use a wrench to try to get these started. Okay? So now that we got that taken care of, we're going to move on to the front brakes. Alright you guys, so I just wanted to show you guys something. See this right here? This is plastic, so it looks like it's a frame rail you can jack up on, but you cannot. The real frame rail is behind it. As you can see, I'm jacked up on it, and I also have a jack stand on another part of the frame rail. But do not jack up on this part, because it will break and it will crush all the stuff that's inside there. So remember, go a little bit further in to jack up your Subaru. These are 19 millimeters. I like to take the wheel, set it underneath the vehicle. Worst case scenario, if it falls, you'll be alright. So, looks like we're going to get started on these brakes here. We're going to be changing the rotors and the brake pads. Now if you can see here, this is a good indication that the brakes are bad. One is if there's a lip right here, and you can tell, or if the rotor's bad, this will have a good lip right here, and as you can see there's little bits of spots, meaning it's getting a little hot. It's alright, we're going to change all these, get some good brake pads and rotors on it, and she'll be stopping smooth shortly. Alright, here's two 14 millimeter bolts that are going to come off, and then we can remove this. But what I will do first is I take this caliper and I pull on it. And I pull and it pushes the pistons in just a little bit in here, and it'll make it easier to pull this off once I loosen those two 14 millimeter bolts. Alright, so I got those loose. I'm going to take these out. So this is still pretty tight. I'm going to push it forward a little bit, get it to come loose. And right now I'm pushing that piston in by doing that. So it makes it a lot easier. Then set it up out of the way so that it doesn't fall. And then we're going to get these loosened and removed in order to take the caliper bracket off. And then we can remove the rotors as well. So these are 17 mil, and I'll get the impact on there. I might not be able to fit that one, but got the impact there. These are 17 mils. We'll get them removed and get the caliper bracket off. As a reminder, you guys, when we're doing rotors, every rotor that you get, unless it's a black coated rotor, it's going to have oil on it. And what that does is it keeps it from rusting. So you want to take your brake cleaner and spray them, clean them off with a clean rag before you put them on. Because if you don't, it'll put a layer, it'll glaze the pads, and it'll put a hard layer on the rotor and on the pads from the oil, and it will actually make your brakes squeak really bad. So remember to clean your rotors very well before you install them. Okay? So remember to do that, along with lubing up all of your slides and caliper brackets and everything like that. Alright, so these have these little tabs on them that go in these holes, and it keeps the pad away from the rotor while you're not pressing the brakes. So make sure you get those on right there. Get the bracket on, put these on, make sure these are lubed, and now we can install the caliper. Okay, so you will need to push the pistons back in with the calipers. I use a big set of a big crescent wrench, big adjustable wrench, and it pushes in just easily. But some cars are a lot harder. This is actually really easy. Or if you don't have these, you can use a C-clamp. And then now that those are pushed in, this will go on much easier. And get them lined up, and then so it's not going to go in because you got to push this in. So now it's lining up. Get the back, do the same thing for the bottom. Push it in, and then line that up and get that on there. So I'm going to show you a little tip here. So these are not circular. This piece right here. So this piece turns a little bit, see? If this piece isn't turned right, this won't slide on. It won't slide on. So you have to make sure that this is turned just right, and then boop, it'll go right on after that. Okay, so make sure that you're clocking these tabs right here in the right position. See how this is flat right here and not round? So this flatness has to be like this, and then the caliper can go on easy. If you don't do that, it can be a pain in the butt and you won't know why. Alright, so got the two 14s tight, we got the two 17s tight, we got made sure that the brakes are nice and that everything still moves, so you can still move the rotor, so it's not locked up or anything. We're going to throw the wheel back on, and that'll be done. This side of the brakes will be done, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a 14 and a 17. You take these out, you push the pistons back in the calipers, replace your rotors, put everything back together nice and tight, you're good to go. Make sure we're lubing everything. Make sure we're lubing these, because if you don't lube these caliper slides, they'll seize up and then you'll have major brake problems later, and you'll have to spend more money replacing the caliper slides or even this bracket. So, super important to do that. All right, now we're going to move on to the rear brakes, and we will also be doing rear wheel bearings. All right, so we finished up the brakes on the front, changing the pads and rotors, and then we did the spark plugs, which were a pain, but we got to them. We have all those in and tight. Everything's tight. Wheels are on. Car's down off the ground. And that is it. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing the rear brakes and the wheel bearings, so I'll be making another video of those. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. Until then, see you later. Bye.